Big news from Burkina Faso. In 2025, the country is launching a massive recruitment drive to enlist 2,000 police officers, a bold move to restore peace and combat rising threats. This isn't just about numbers. It's a strategic shift from military force to community policing, signaling a new chapter in Burkina Faso's fight for stability. Stay tuned as we break down what this means for the nation's future and the fight against insurgency. Let's dive in. The escalating security crisis in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, situated in the volatile Sahel region, has become a hotspot for insurgency and violence. Over the past few years, Islamist militant groups operating in the Sahel corridor have intensified their campaigns, launching relentless attacks against civilians, security forces, and government infrastructure. In 2024 alone, over 300 deadly attacks rattled the nation, claiming hundreds of lives and displacing thousands. This surge in violence has exposed the vulnerabilities of Burkina Faso's existing law enforcement framework. The police force, comprising approximately 12,000 officers, was already overstretched and under-resourced long before the current crisis deepened. The February attack near Djibo, which resulted in the tragic deaths of at least 25 civilians, served as a wake-up call for authorities. President Ibrahim Traore responded decisively, unveiling a comprehensive plan to bolster the police force by recruiting 2,000 officers, a 17% increase in personnel. Civil policing over military sole reliance. Historically, Burkina Faso's security strategy leaned heavily on military operations to combat insurgents. However, the persistent insecurity and community alienation highlighted the need for a more nuanced approach. President Traore's government recognized that sustainable peace required not just military might, but also effective civil policing rooted in community engagement. By increasing the police workforce, the government aims to create a more balanced approach, deploying officers across 5 volatile regions, including the Sahel, Est, Haut-Bassan, Boula-Doukhoun, and Center zones. These areas have experienced a staggering 40% spike in violent incidents since 2023, underscoring the urgent need for localized, community-centered security efforts. Transparency, inclusivity, and gender balance. The recruitment process for the new officers has been meticulously designed to ensure transparency and inclusivity. Over 15,000 candidates from all walks of life applied through a nationwide call for applications. Candidates underwent rigorous screening, including physical fitness tests, background checks, and community service evaluations. Only the top 13%, those who demonstrated suitability and commitment, were selected. A notable aspect of this recruitment drive is its emphasis on gender balance and local representation. 40% of the chosen candidates are women, marking a significant departure from traditional male-dominated police forces. This gender inclusion aims to enhance community outreach, especially in addressing crimes specific to women and children, and to foster trust among diverse populations. Furthermore, priority was given to applicants from conflict zones and marginalized communities. This approach ensures that the police force reflects the cultural and social fabric of the regions they serve, facilitating better communication and cooperation between law enforcement and local populations, building a professional, rights-based force. Once selected, recruits embark on a rigorous 6-month training program at regional police academies. Recognizing the importance of modern policing standards, the government overhauled the curriculum, integrating modules on conflict de-escalation, human rights, community engagement, and digital reporting. International partners, including the United Nations and the European Civilian Crisis Response Unit, have provided technical support, but the curriculum remains driven by Burkina Faso's national priorities. Trainees learn not just tactical skills, counterinsurgency, crowd control, and patrol techniques, but also vital lessons on respecting human rights, gender sensitivity, victim support, and legal frameworks. Psychologists will play a crucial role in resilience training, equipping officers to handle the emotional toll of frontline work. Role-playing exercises simulate real-world scenarios, from diffusing communal tensions to safeguarding civilians during operations. Periodic evaluations ensure that training remains effective and that recruits meet performance benchmarks. Embedding community and cultural understanding. A standout feature of Burkina Faso's reform is the emphasis on community immersion. Recruits are embedded with local leaders, traditional chiefs, and civil society groups to understand cultural norms, local concerns, and social dynamics. This immersive approach aims to produce officers who are culturally literate, empathetic, and trusted community members, key ingredients for effective policing in fragile environments. Regional commanders are empowered with decentralized decision-making authority, enabling rapid responses tailored to local needs. Mobile command centers, equipped with satellite communications and digital reporting tools, are stationed in remote and conflict-prone areas to facilitate quick action. Strategic and community-oriented. Following training, the 2,000 new officers will be strategically deployed across the 5 hotspot regions. Each region will have dedicated platoons working alongside military units, sharing intelligence and coordinating operations to combat insurgent activities. A key innovation is the establishment of community policing councils in each region. Comprising traditional leaders, women's groups, youth representatives, and civil society members, these councils serve as bridges between police and communities. They facilitate dialogue, help shape patrol routes, and monitor police conduct, ensuring policing efforts align with local priorities. To bolster operational capacity, the government has procured 50 new 4x4 patrol vehicles and 100 motorcycles, facilitating access to rugged terrains and remote villages. Real-time crime mapping and a mobile app for incident reporting empower civilians to report threats directly, fostering transparency and citizen participation. Early signs of success and community trust. Although still in its nascent stages, early indicators suggest that Burkina Faso's reform efforts are bearing fruit. Since the deployment of the initial 800 officers in May, reports of kidnappings and armed confrontations near villages have shown a decline. Town hall meetings and community outreach campaigns have significantly improved public perception of police performance. Traditional leaders have lauded the inclusive approach, noting that residents now see police officers as part of their communities rather than distant enforcers. A recent survey indicated that 62% of respondents rated police performance as good or very good, up from 42% earlier this year. Such positive shifts in public sentiment are critical for long-term stability. Transparency, oversight, and international support. Transparency remains a cornerstone of Burkina Faso's reform strategy. Public dashboards display deployment data and incident reports, while independent monitors from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and other international bodies conduct quarterly audits. An independent police inspectorate, staffed with civil society and legal experts, will oversee misconduct investigations, ensuring accountability. International partners continue to support capacity-building initiatives, including training, resource provision, and technological upgrades. The government is also developing a multi-year funding plan to sustain these reforms, seeking both domestic budget allocations and international grants. Challenges and the road ahead. Despite promising early results, several challenges persist. Funding sustainability remains a concern, especially given the country's economic constraints. Retention of trained officers is crucial. Estimates predict up to 15% attrition due to remote postings and difficult working conditions. To address this, the government proposes incentive packages, rural hardship allowances, housing support, and career development pathways tied to performance. Long-term institutional reform requires ongoing oversight and commitment. Plans are underway to expand the police force further, potentially recruiting an additional 1,500 officers by 2027, contingent on the success of current initiatives. Building a resilient and trustworthy police force. President Traore's vision is clear. Transform Burkina Faso's police into a professional, community-oriented, human rights-respecting force capable of restoring stability. His approach emphasizes not just numbers, but also quality, training officers to be ethical, empathetic, and culturally sensitive. This comprehensive strategy aims to break the cycle of violence, rebuild trust between communities and law enforcement, and establish a resilient security apparatus capable of facing future challenges. While obstacles remain, the initial momentum suggests that Burkina Faso is on a path towards sustainable peace and stability. A potential model for the Sahel, Burkina Faso's initiative to recruit 2,000 police officers and reform its security sector is more than a short-term fix. It is a bold step toward long-term transformation. By integrating community participation, emphasizing human rights, and modernizing training, the country is setting a precedent for other fragile states in the Sahel and beyond. If sustained with adequate resources, political will, and community support, These reforms could redefine policing in fragile environments, an inspiring example of how strategic investments in human capital and community engagement can pave the way for lasting peace. As the world watches, Burkina Faso's journey underscores an essential truth. Security is not solely about guns and soldiers, but about trust, respect, and partnerships built from the ground up.